Icy has a flash to set him up if they want to go for this one. Ult committed.
Hacia Trotsky, acaba con la vida del robot, rompe la definitiva, Montino prevalece tremendo.
We got a game, folks. We're going to map 3. G2 Esports manages to shut down Leviatán on Icebox, and now we find ourselves in a very fun situation here. Of course, Golden Boy alongside with Athena. You got Mimi and Ender. Let's just go ahead and dive right into this one because there was a lot of interesting things to take away from this game, but I think above all else, Valen just called a great game, was very smart with how he was using, all of the pieces that he had available to him, and it just felt like it was what you want to see from an IGL like him.
Yeah, it was a good start for this Leviatán squad to get going into this one, and then you had that moment, which was so strange, right? Tech swinging, losing out on that clutch, and then it started snowballing out of their way. Leaf in particular, I think, had a ton of impact with these reflanks and was really punishing the Leviatán posts.
It really felt like they managed to use their util in all the right places. I feel like this is such a big contrast for G2 from last game where they weren't able to use their util to punish and capitalize on kills, and now they completely denied retakes. They denied so much and just allowed Leaf to lurk into places that he should not have been in.
Yeah, and rightfully Icy has been a magnet for criticism for this team, but in this game his off towards the second part of that first half, super impactful to continually get these opening kills. But we have to talk about the second half, where I think it was a complete failure of Leviatán to adapt.
Yeah, they showed, especially in the second part of that, no ability to contest space around B at all. They did not do a lot of aggressive fights into B main, and the times they did, it was a very strange jump peak, really swinging out into the open and dying, and then trying to play full 5-on-5 retakes over and over. But you're doing it against a comp of G2s that is so stacked with post-plant utility. 4 different agents have mollies
so
or
much
shocks.
to get through.
I mean, you know what's so weird is on Breeze, they did so good at denying the plant and denying anyone going through choke points with their util, but Lev just did not do that at all this game. And all the controller walls, they couldn't get past it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it came down to the difference in post-plant utility. But before we even get into that, we got to talk about Leaf. This guy was lights out this game, almost dropping 400 ACS
on the Killjoy. Yeah, and a lot of this too was in the post plants around that B site where he was just frying and getting multiple kills. And I think the big difference I saw between this G2 and Icebox compared to Breeze was that they weren't over-committing on the re-wraps on attack after they plant the spike and then sending those flanks. Leaf did it a couple of times, but more often than not, he was sticking with the team and getting 2-3 kills in those post plants from back yellow.
And seeing this comp now for the second time from G2, I really like it compared to the default Harbor Viper. We saw how good the Gecko and Sova tools were in the post plants and for those flood retakes. On the other hand, with this single Sova initiator, Leviatán, it felt like they were running out of tools to make those retakes happen on that B site in particular. 7 rounds where their opponent had a post plant. Lev didn't win a single one of those retakes.
I mean, a really big thing that Lev was trying to do around their defense was play around their Opera and set up Aspas. But G2 was literally just finding where Aspas was and was avoiding him straight up.
Again, it goes back to Valen's calling.
Exactly. They knew where the weak spots were. Leaf at some point is just entry fragging his Killjoy. Everything was going really
The
well.
Leaf rounds were ridiculous. He's literally just running in.
Yeah.
If you look at him, I would think he's still playing Jet.
Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't even be mad about that because the way that Leaf had approached that whole game is something that you certainly need to be proud of if you were a G2. But now you're going into, some dangerous waters here. We go into map 3. The stakes are high here. There's a lot on the line for both of these teams.
100%.
But for G2, it's to stay alive in this tournament.
And for more teams that are just playing in this game, right? Because right now, there are 3 teams in the Alpha Group with 3 wins. G2 were not supposed to win this series. If they somehow manage to win map 3, they are then tied with those 3 other teams with 3 wins. And Sentinels will sit in sole last place in Alpha Group, which we know is the harder group.
I mean, I literally have no idea what is going on. This 1 week that you guys invited me to be on this show has just been
blew it all up, I'm real.
You guys brought me on the most confusing roller coaster ride ever.
Every game that we think is going to be a stomp is a close game or an upset. Every game that should be a banger has been a stomp. It's turned everything topsy-turvy, but the real victim of this, honestly, is Sentinels, right? Their weak start in a couple of these games has meant that they are now at real risk. But for G2, winning this makes playoffs so much more of a possibility.
Yeah, and for Sentinels fans, you are now Leviatán fans, okay? You need
Congratulations.
Lev to win. Not
Buy the
need,
jersey,
but
buy
it
the
will
bundle,
make your
you're
chances
in.
way better.
You know why things have been so crazy?
Why?
Because it's Super Week. That's why, baby. I just wanted to get the explosion in there one last time. Yes.
No, we
All right, let's go ahead and move forward. They want to kill me. To map 3, we got Lotus on the docket. We saw how this one goes yesterday. A lot of attack rounds were won. Question is, what are the adjustments that can be made here, Ender? Who are you really going to be keeping your eye on as we get ready for this map?
I mean, I'm just still remembering the 47 bomb from Aspas on this Lotus map.
Yeah.
So as boring as it does get, I do think G2 still need to have a focus of getting around this guy. We heard Josh RD come out after game 1 and say, hey, we did a bad job of dealing with Aspas. In game 2, we need to do better. And what did they do? They called around Aspas on their attacks. They weren't just running into that operator. Now it's going to be the Rays coming in for Aspas, but they still need to deal with them.
I mean, I feel like going into this Leviatán, if they can pull out the way that the things that they normally do, like on that sunset where they have those trap plays, Lotus is a map to do it, especially with those raised nades, especially being able to fight forward. I feel like if they just have that confidence in order to play the way they normally play, they can set themselves up for success. But, I mean, Leaf going crazy, if he just starts running in like crazy, I don't even know how to predict this.
You saw that manila folder that Gokid was carrying? It's just Aspas go kill in there 15 times. Seriously, though, they have a lot more depth on this map. They've looked great here. Their win over Sentinels was not just off Aspas. It was off an incredibly well-called attacking side. They do a great job of pushing and pulling in the mid-round. King is great as an IGL on this map.
Yeah, I think all of that is true, but to me, the single strongest thing they do is their opening round skirmishes. I think they are elite on that front. The variation they can pull, especially when they fight in both Mound and Rubble, you are hard-pressed to find a team that does better than that.
They also do a lot of really good mid-round reclears that are super effective if you're not ready as an attacker. We're into the agent select here. We shouldn't expect any surprises, but what we're very likely to get is Icy on the Rays. And again, the focus has to come to him. All those opening round skirmishes, all those big moments are so often built around the Rays on this map. He needs to be great.
I mean, we just saw him playing Gecko, being really good util for the team, being good kind of behind enemy lines. We saw Leaf take that forward positioning. But
It's a
on
different
map
brand
like,
now.
yeah, on a map like Lotus, you need to be pushing, you need to be confident, you need to be taking all this map control. So we'll just see if he gets to do it.
This is going to be awesome. Here we go, the third map. Can G2 pull this out? That's going to be a massive one if they're able to do so, or can Leviatán shut it down here and now? Let's send it over to Brendan Sideshow for the call.
And you guys have teed this one up perfectly, I think, as well. Just showing the tables between these two teams and how it is really so important for G2 to take this away from Lev. It's a matchup. Listen, we didn't think it was going to be the case. Lev have been looking lights out, but they brought them to a map 3. And there's chances here. There's real chances starting on Lotus as our third and final map.
And it's not even a joke. Like, it actually does affect Sen's legacy.
It really does.
Because they're down at the bottom of the table fighting against teams like G2. This is a prime opportunity for G2 to come out with an amazing upset victory. But they'd have to deliver an excellent performance here on Lotus. We have seen the attack side teams generate crazy streaks across Super Week. And so my eyes kind of go to the defenders, weirdly enough, of like, can you stop that?
Yeah, how many rounds is going to be enough?
How do you avoid that from happening? Something to highlight early on. We call this the Chad pistol round buy. This is wild.
On the attack side as well.
Yeah.
I mean, normally you want your ace player to be, taking the initiative, moving in with some satchels.
Yeah, normally you either want a satchel for some space creation, or if you're going into like a B exec, or you'll want the boombot to be able to work with, sometimes the teams will run like nanoswarms on the Killjoy too.
Not Aspas though. Sheriffs. And a slow take of A Rubble once they realize that they're pretty much being gifted it for free.
The door being opened as well favors the attackers in this kind of spot.
Gives them easy entry if they do choose to pivot, but they're just holding for that util in their hand. Valen spots it out with a jiggle. Wall up in their faces. Now the door open wide. They're really starting to press forwards here. They're all tucked in through tree, and they'd push them back and away. Paranoia, Icy, not looking behind him. Again, his back is being covered here. Aspas, what is that? Adjustment, really, a flick of the wrist, whatever you want to call it. He has just opened up the sight.
That's a ridiculous kill. Icy should have had that one, but Leaf responds. Leaf up top.
He's nice and fast into the action, isn't he? Right into the fray here. 2 versus 3. Still have to have some more magical moments, and Trent, he delivers one right into that lapse here still. Leaves it to Leaf. And he had a monster class performance! What is that kill? It's traded by King.
Yeah, it doesn't matter in the end. But for a moment there, I thought Leaf might have just blessed the Classic to deliver something for him. Lev, though, the way that they burst out through that smoke, excellent stuff with the haunt. I felt like Icy was good for it. He was holding the right point in the smoke as well. Just the reaction time's better for Aspas, anticipating a player there, perhaps.
Magnetic, just snap into the head.
And it didn't really matter that he had the Sheriff, but certainly stylish.
Oh, good opening beginning here for Lev. G2. Plenty of ways to now play this one here on the eco rounds of the defending teams. You can try and fight for some of these orbs. See Mazzino, he's a little bit scared here of the potential of a trap play.
Yeah, there's another thing I want to point your attention to, which is that King's Viper Orb has been thrown as a liner so that it blooms into C. And this is going to keep players attached to C. Because that Viper Orb means that you can exit out. It makes it more difficult to hold, more classic kind of ways of, you know, this is like a normal sightline that people would hold for information over towards C.
Just removes it though.
Yeah, and it's freed up A entirely, right? I mean,
yeah. Lev have this knowledge now. Look at this. I mean, the
Aspas is staying around.
Essentially in their spawn. Aspas is staying around. He throws a nade out.
The nade is great. It's going to keep people tethered over towards C. It's going to allow Lev to stay there. Or rather, allow Lev to get the plant down on A and cement their position. But one of the side effects of getting this kind of instant plant is that G2 might try to deny ult orbs to Lev. It is possible.
Or to walk right into him.
Yeah.
Aspas, the target. You don't really want to give the ult orbs to. You don't want to give him any sort of kills. Okay, everybody just had to whip their shots here, but that's fast forwards. Past that one way. And now just 2 away from the showstopper.
Yeah, and I really think this is a misplay by G2. I think in this kind of spot, you have such a low chance of winning the round. You actually want to deny ult orbs in this spot. Aspas is now 2 away from getting a showstopper. And this is how, you know, Valen should recognize it. This is what he did on Icebox, is generating that momentum.
It's the basic game plan. We talk about it almost every single time for the attacking side.
But I think G2, all right, this is normally where Lev are going to pull something different out of the book. G2 need to be ready for some kind of fast set play. What do your early round protocols look like here? This is looking like a clash over towards Rubble. So Valen and Icy have got to be ready to put this one back. It's going to be a haunt up over the top towards the top left of Lev.
Spiller, there's a lot of pressure. Zone haunt slipping past. Probably being pushed back here, but the door opens up for Valen. Still going to hold it down here. It's got the one way in the wall, of course, up, so the threat of that decay damage. And the all being picked up there. A few stray bullets, but nothing connecting. Aspas now one away to the big one.
I assumed it wouldn't be that relevant in this round, but Aspas actually has the opportunity to go and get the all on C.
Yeah, they haven't fought for C either. So this is when you were talking about what options are available for G2. I wanted to see them fight over at least one of these orbs.
Yeah, and they
deny it away.
They've done neither. They've made this very winnable for Leviatán. Because now you have to worry about that showstopper, and what do you do with it? They also haven't used this opportunity, as the ult orb is getting taken over towards Mound, to do some kind of re-clear play on A. They've just got a passive setup everywhere around the map. Yeah. They're giving Lev their run of the place. The only benefit to G2 right now is the time on the clock. 30 seconds, 3 players defending A.
They're seeking to delay this one here. Okay, Rocket. See what sort of damage that Aspas can do with a nade. At his feet, dropped down to 54 health. The fuse, just before it runs out, sent flying. And it has put that pause into G2. They couldn't quite disrupt that plan from going down. So into the post we go here. And they're holding for a heavy heaven setup. 2 players here, a little bit of a cross there. This was one into the pit. Orbs dropping, Icy. Chances to come alive into this one. Maybe he can make something happen for the rest of his team, but there's still smokes in the way. They want to clear out Rubble.
They want to clear Tex first. This is a new protocol that teams are adding on the retake.
It's too much to clear, really, for them. Eventually trading him out. It's barely there, but how much more have they really got? The util, it's sent flying forwards and away. Mazzino still with that high ground position, but he tucks away just at the wrong time. Aspas dropping them all like flies in a moment.
And that's the bonus round for Lev. Off the back of G2 being too passive. offering Aspas both ult orbs. Hey, you want them both? Well, we'll just decide to fight over nothing.
Yeah, this isn't exactly, you know, rocket science. Teams have been playing Lotus for quite some time with these comps. You know how they operate.
The one silver lining is that you don't have another ult available for Leviatán to use. But the problem is they're now dropping G2 down onto an eco.
Yeah.
So this becomes the kind of like farm round where you just run around and try to build up ults. We're already into things here. King got punished. That would be a great start for G2. They need some element of magic here. Maybe Lev will just take this one as a bit of a gimme, try to overfight, and G2 will be offered something.
Yeah, G2 have recognized at least they, overwhelm that A side, so they take up the orb before it's even available. Lev have got different ideas.
Good paranoia.
Yeah, orb's going to be pluming here. Good movement as well to just topple themselves up onto the box. Showing a peek. Just the one before eventually falling. Smoke timing. Blocks off the heaven angle, but there's a slightest gap. Can't quite nail it. Leaf was looking for an easy shot there. A few spam kills as well. Trent tucked close and a bit of a one and done, and it's really just a one and none.
I'm not sure I'd want to push that, Zeno, because you know that there's a player inside there with a Marshall.
Marshall will do it. Hold up. This is eventually going away at G2. I mean, he's picked up this upgrade now, and Leaf, yes, his position is noted and known. Aspas, but he has to win out this fight. He's been distracted. Flying right over him with the satchels in play. Icy, he's making all sorts of distractions. Up and over you go, but you ran out of bullets. The right click. Only the one. Leaf, with that upgrade that he was afforded, that is a thrifty round conversion, and G2, they bloody well needed it.
That's the magic you need from G2 to stop the avalanche forming. In its tracks. Another amazing round from Leaf. But why are Lev trying to fight into spawn in that situation when one of their players already on 63 health? They didn't go immediately, so they couldn't dominate the smoke. And then when they walk in, they're walking into a crossfire from Waterfall.
Yeah.
It's just, there's simply no need for it. You have a plant in a spot where you can play it from Mound. They just got roped into playing things too aggressively there. That's the kind of mistake that G2 were begging them to make. It's given them a route back in.
The defensive side of Lotus as well, you know. Question becomes, how many rounds do you really need? Already have one on the board this early. Set the sights on a second one. Potential's definitely there, but this time Lev moving over towards the B site. Nightfall. Good acknowledgement there. There's no quite tags happening whatsoever now. Their own Nightfall going to be used, and this is rapid by G2. I'm going to just flood it right back into this one, making sure that all those noise and sound cues cut away. There's nothing really that Lev can rely on. No comms in sight. Lockdown, even being expended, just making sure Aspas has no avenues.
That was such a sick call from Valen and Trent to immediately pop through Hobbit and just Nightfall the whole of the site. Really fast reactions. It's left Aspas in a essentially unwinnable spot.
Shouldn't be a way in.
For a player of his caliber, you've got to give respect, but you don't want to give too much space.
Take the fights together. Has to be the call by G2. And just spamming away off somebody's contact. Yeah, as soon as Leaf takes the point, everybody else will follow through, so even if Leaf didn't get the kill. Locking it up, so G2 on that second round now. Stringing it together. What's the economy looking like for Lev? It's broken.
Yeah, they might try to put something together because they're very close to ult. But look at the pace on this. There's a lockdown, there's a Nightfall, they're applying pressure. They're going for this flood retake before the plant has even gone down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even, technically a retake round, but they give the site and then they collapse back onto it.
They are mine.
There's a tiny amount of danger here, but really not a lot. A Vandal, a Guardian in the hand of Aspas. It could snowball if Lev get a pick.
Oh, you said with how close they are. Burning the showstopper. Even the Viper's Pit as well. If they get themselves onto the C site, it would be difficult for G2, but they're actually going to use their own Viper's Pit first. Trying to P, making sure that he holds down that one choke point. Everybody now making movement towards B, but G2, look at this.
There.
It's diligence and discipline together, just holding it with a triple face out towards A. They are going to be so fast if they choose to flank this one. And already there, I mean, Colm was just jiggling, peeking out wide there with a knife, not expecting players to already be on that approach.
This is a nice call, though, from Lev, just re-clearing this spot with the contact, knowing that G2 are likely to back away. The satchel from Aspas might have given the game away here, though.
Oh, Trent, Odin in his hands. Lots of bodies. The ward drops, though. That's a classic play. You've got to be ready for that one as well.
This is now worrying because Showstopper to get in, King's Pit. G2 have got to put up some resistance here.
More than winnable. Paranoia. Flying, Aspas. He's not shying away. He's brought down, though. Icy, that's on his ult as well. Showstopper here with a rocket. Rebounding, potentially waiting. And it does strike back. Even anticipating that re-swing through the smoke. It's all heads up. And there was danger there, Josh, you're right. But it's all navigated quite perfectly.
It's Icy in the round, shutting down Aspas as he goes for that. It's nice pathing from Aspas. He gets hit by the Paranoia and Blastbacks a small way into sight, anticipating that it wasn't being held, and Icy was there to back up Valen. So far, G2 are calling really nice defensive setups. They're getting into sights at the right time, they're flood defending at the right time, catching these opportunities and putting the pressure onto Leviatán. Things here, though, start to reset again. Lev have ult advantages. They can start that snowball going once more. Big
like
ult
aggressive. I mean, Leaf is so far forwards here. How is he going to be escaping from the iron away? I mean, it's 1-for-1, but Leaf does so well to even get it in the first place.
Mazzino is so deep. Omen ulted way into spawn.
Into the back line. Trent spots him, though. Smoke drops down. It will cover the retreat at least, but he is... I mean, just behind enemy lines, entirely expecting it, in fact, hearing it. With a Satchel play, he knew that Icy was on that high ground angle, and he has caught a timing of a lifetime! Trying to clear this guy out of position, and it's just crumbled and tumbled out of the hands of G2.
That's a chaotic round. We've seen Mazzino go for those all the time. He was running that strat constantly on Leviatán last
years ago.
And people were dealing with it really easily. But there, throwing the smoke for himself, playing inside of it. Wonderful punish onto Icy. And this. Another bizarre, chaotic way to open the round. Nice from Leaf to dominate the attacker's smoke. It's about the only way that you're going to be able to stop them there. But a very aggressive approach from Leaf. Normally we wouldn't really be a fan of the Killjoy player getting up and aggressive playing in front of their setup. But I think it's justified in a round where the attackers have crazy ults to work with.
I agree. I think if you can try and force it out, maybe go 1-for-1 in that scenario, it does make it winnable. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case because they couldn't deal with Mazzino.
Exactly. Mazzino just creates all the chaos and wins the round single-handedly because G2 fumbled the attempt to deal with him.
Yeah.
But I find it difficult to assess where we're at with this half so far.
It is hard.
Because we've had such blowout attack sides. Almost every time we've seen Lotus be played in Americas recently, people have been getting 8, 9, 10, no problem. I mean, 11 sometimes as well. On
and then comebacks occurring anyway.
Yep. So G2 getting 3 already out of 7, I think this is looking pretty decent for them. They're going to have another period later on in the half where they catch up with the ults as well. So even if Lev can build up a bit of momentum, I think G2 should be sitting pretty, especially with how well Valen called on Icebox.
I think that's carried forwards here. He's definitely cooking up game plans, thinking about the ultimates to a certain degree. And I just love the decisiveness, I think, as well, that G2 are making these decisions to take fights together. There's always the confidence there. It was missing on Breeze.
Horn, one way, thrown over towards Mound. Leviatán, this is their classic way of being able to take it. Sometimes go for the one way, sometimes go for the closer smoke. It's actually the positioning here of Icy that I'm paying close attention to, because you can use your nade positioning to counter the lockdown. And again, the defenders have got to be thinking about those attack side ultimates. And you've got a great opportunity to do like a bounce nade. Can't exactly do that on the minimap actually, but you know, bouncing it off the corner there.
I get the point though. Yeah.
And you can also try to do the same thing over towards B if you get a good read on where Lev are going.
Thinking ahead, trying to get one step ahead really of the lockdown in case it could become a problem. Not really too many good places to use it over towards A, so just the one way to cover Valen.
And this is supposed to be dragging players over. Lev applying that pressure to A, it's supposed to be pulling people, but Valen's opened the door, seen that there's nobody there, and he's calling the C hit already.
Oh yeah.
Excellent anticipation from Valen.
Very, very ready for it. What ults will even be offloaded? 30 seconds left. So Nadesh want to take the initiative forward here with a seize, and they collapse right through the choke point. That is a cacophony of util enough.
You should run.
Makes a foul concoction, but with all that expended, the lockdown now has a bit of freedom to get used. Still, the plant does need to go down here. And time was running short. Still, it clears the way all the way through, even connecting onto that kill onto Leaf. I don't know why he's taking that fight out wide.
He's trying to break the lockdown there. He realized the lockdown was in a position where he could break it through the door, and he decided to send it.
So doubled up, smoke up, cuts up the angle. One more approach away for G2. Paranoia's good though. Satchel forward! Mazzino, no way! Oh, he's just gliding through the site, slicing him as Icy's going through the air.
What a player to step up and make his impact felt. He single-handedly wins them one of the previous rounds by using his Omen ult, and this time navigates the near site. What is this?
There's no
Tracking
shot.
Icy through the air whilst running backwards.
No way.
He's so good in those scrappy moments.
It's on a knife's edge that round was. Levu find that footing. Zeno TP'd forward. Valen, you really seek to try and refight this one and not even thinking about it. Mazzino again, the difference maker. You've got to have an extra layer, I think, if you're going to try and fight a rubble like that. Expecting at least that there could be a player to take up that space and positioning. Valen risks to be taken, and he knows it. Almost going for it. Speaking of risks as well, Leaf, look at this guy.
Trying to make the hero play. Down 3v4, knows that he can't make a normal defense work. Jonah on an off angle, another kind of hero setup.
Should get traded immediately, surely. Surely, locking it, ADS, Bulldog! That is just binding him to pieces! Shredded in place! Decay, the vulnerability, all applying at the end there.
But he should have been traded up.
Oh, he should have been traded immediately.
These defense players are so willing to take risks, and it is catching Lev off, despite the best efforts of Mazzino. What is this? Aspas looking to clear the box. It's the kill on King that's the most surprising, in my opinion. King should have been able to whip through that wall.
Yeah.
And you see glee and a bit of disbelief writ large on the face of Josh RT.
G2 this half. I mean, it's steadily becoming just an absolutely brilliant one. Like you said earlier, that given all the 9-3s, 8-4s, whatever else, we've seen one-sided in the favor of the attackers. Still could go into that direction, but well, that's an interesting one.
That's unfortunate. Leaf pulls it back.
There, recalls the alarm on anyway. Texto, opening kill found there. Towards the B site.
That's a great shot. Jonah P was just jiggling to get a snake bite out. He must have barely shown himself.
Some of the G2 players scattered a little bit, I think, wondering where else Lev might have worked their way up through.
But once again, G2 are getting a really nice read on this, understanding that it's not an instant pivot into B. They've got 3 players ready to defend A.
Making the right call.
I'm very impressed.
Paranoia through the door there. Valen was blinded. He even just cuts it up with a smoke of his own here. This is excellent, to be honest. And even close quarters, action spraying and praying, but Icy is rewarded for it. And now that quick pivot, they hear the door being broken. Mazzino is going to be this extra backstabber, lurking angle. Hearing it now, and he's got the ultra as well. Disengage entirely. He's backing away and through into the main angle. Leaf is going to be fast through with this one. G2 as well as a double-pronged attempt, and Leaf is none the wiser. Didn't expect Mazzino to be repositioning there with a pit placed down, sitting nice and pretty onto that B site. This is now just an impossibility for G2 to decay. Already kicking in here for Trent.
Barely dodged the snake bite.
Yeah.
It should be too much.
You've got to give it up.
They're going to look to save because these 2 players are the only ones with 4 credits the rest of G2 can buy. And as long as they keep bleeding out ults and putting themselves in good positions to win these rounds, it's going to end up being a decent defense half. They're chasing, Lever chasing, they're hunting.
Want these kills, they know the money's running low. You can hold tab and see it.
That's close.
Yeah, he's going to be safe, surely.
He almost got caught by the spike.
Almost, but...
Another really nice play from Mazzino, though.
Yeah.
They have to cancel the A hit. Oh, it was through the smoke as well. That's ridiculous, the kill on Jonah P. But yeah, Mazzino, you know, they have to cancel the A hit, pivot into B, acts as that insert in tree, gets the pick, Omen ults away, and Leaf's broken the turret, so he is ready, posted up.
I love the mixture as well of players stepping up to the challenge that we've seen so far in this series. I mean, we're being treated, to be honest. It's
nice gameplay.
Not the outcome that many of us were really expecting. I mean, Lev looked like they were just absolutely dog-walking most of Americas, to be honest, with the turnaround they've had. But this is G2 holding a candle to them still. But is that lead steady for Lev? Jiggling the angle here. IC with the nade, and it's a C's as well. It's combo. Seen Sentinels running something very similar. No connection there with a tether.
Tiny bit of chip damage onto Aspas.
Off the back of Mazzino TPing, I think, is what they chose to use it. And Lev have found out there's that slight gap now over towards the A side, so they're walking into it. Leafs holding it, just slight pixel angle here. It's straight down with the Odin. Only a bit of damage though.
Very cool angle.
What is that?
That's so nice. It's an angle where the Odin can do damage, but you can't really get counter-spammed. Penetration just not good enough with the Phantom or a Vandal.
There's hesitation in the left camp. They're calling for which direction to even go into here with a Paranoia to really just supplement and help with the supportive util, waiting for that wall to go down. Mazzino, he wins the fight out eventually. Icy dealt with. TP across. They realize that they've got access to that B side. Only a few players to really have to worry about. Trent up into heaven, and the back's against it as well.
This is not going to be a free retake, even though G2 have a player advantage. Lev have space, they're taking position over towards Waterfall, and it's a good plan for both them and Mazzino. Could easily be another round where Mazzino pulls out magic.
Who's it going to be swinging into in terms of the favor? I mean, Texas going walkabouts into their own spawning, but the door opens wide. There's a fight. Snake bite.
Mazzino wasn't quite ready.
Yeah, Mazzino wasn't ready for it, but he's going to be spraying through. 6 bullets, got to reload. Another fight comes through. There's a horn to set that one up and forwards. Tex still onto the angle, but now the last one left. Last man standing. Not for much longer. G2. They even this up here on their Lotus defensive sides, honestly. It's going to be really just a lights-out finish for the first half.
Got to agree. Got to agree. G2 have handled this beautifully. I think they've got the read on what Lev are going for. They interrupted all of those moments where the momentum could have overwhelmed them.
Yep.
And even bringing out really cool stuff like that. I don't think I've seen that angle before for an Odin player, but it's a really nice one.
I'd have seen PaperX play it.
Yeah.
I think Forsaken when he picks up the Odin sometimes.
I mean, I could definitely believe that. The economy, not good. 2 stingers for Lev's top fraggers.
And the ults. Cherry on top of G2. Again, another one of these angles that just could be so punishing, but nobody steps into it. Side set forwards though. Aspas, Showstopper slowed down with a bullet tag. Has to commit the rocket though. It's just a 1-for-1 in terms of the ults going out and wide. The bullet tag on with the nades. He's a little bit delayed.
G2's flood defense here is going to be massive. Nightfall, Showstopper, how to Lev hold on?
They're so fast through it. I see. This rocket that could have been a difference maker. They would have taken the fight straight to them, just holding and locking down that choke point. That is the waterfall angle. Or the tails and trails are not going to be stopping them. I mean, the sound cues cut away. It matters not for them.
Bow down. What a round from King. Incredible shutdown and a 2K to boot.
You're joking.
I think it's still an excellent defense half from G2. But Lev have just stolen one back at the final hour.
And the money was bad.
Yep.
Barely any ults to work with. And yeah, it's a 7-5 finish. Flawless in the end.
But it probably should have been a slam dunk there with Nightfall Showstopper coming through from Waterfall.
You gotta imagine.
I want to see a replay. How on earth does he hit the shot onto Icy and then follow it up with another 2?
It's just insanity.
Yeah. A great, great finisher there.
Look at that. Yeah, just not watching for the angle. I mean, just cuts us up and around the pillar.
Just the timing. You see from Icy's POV, just doesn't see King at all.
Game of that timing well. Who the hell knows what's going to be happening into the second half here. Realistically, I mean, G2, they have set themselves up very nice and pretty up for their own attack side rounds. I'll send it down to Liz. She's down on the floor with some special G2 fans.
And those special G2 fans are Nicole and Jason, the parents of the superstar player Trent from G2. Yes, give it up, because this has been back and forth, nail-biting. Nicole, I'm gonna come to you first. What is it like being here in the arena watching your son play?
I'm a nervous wreck. Like, I just, it's crazy. It's crazy. I just want them to do well and play their best, and hopefully they come out on top all the time, right? So, yeah.
I mean, I was watching you guys say, shoot, 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 shoot. It's this excitement. So I feel like if you're the excited one, what are you? Are you like the calm, cool, collected one? Are you more excited?
I try to be, but I'm pretty excited. It was a very fun journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the dad with a cool hat. See, that says Trent. Look at it right there. Beautiful. Nice embroidery. Now, I was talking to you guys before, and I'm a big believer in learning who has sacrificed what. You, as the parents of Trent, what have you sacrificed for him to achieve his dream of being a professional player?
Parenting, like he's basically like done it all himself. Like we're so proud of him. He made this all happen for himself. We just support him. Like we're just right behind him, cheering him on, and he's just making his dreams come true. And he's doing it all, you know. So happy for him.
When did you realize as a parent that, oh, I might be the mother or a father of a superstar?
Well, that would be when he came to us and said, "Hey, I got a contract you have to sign," you know, because I'm not 18 yet. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but let's sit down and figure it out. You know, we had no idea. No idea. We were blindsided.
So now you kind of like understand the game of Valorant and you're like, all right, now you get it? All right.
Yeah, now we get it.
Now we have a game of Valorant to get back to. So casters, please take it away.
I mean, that's very funny to me. Trent just coming out of nowhere. Here's the contract, legally binding, 30 pages. Did you look through this?
I think that's a story we've heard many times with many of the pro players too. Turning that hobby into a career and becoming, a household name in American Valorant for sure.
Yeah.
Now, both of these Fade players playing the more supportive roles have not had those enormous impact rounds just yet.
Where are you?
Delayed horn up and over the top, broken.
Yeah.
As we get into the pistol. Oh, and that's so much damage.
That is brave. A lot of damage done. Lucky to be alive there. Barely skirting past. Turret gone and done and dealt with the horns as well, so it sets up IC nice and deep into this angle. Man down 2. Big fan of this position. You can play the post plant in a variety of ways. Tree control becomes important as well. Valent's going to be that first line of defense. It's just playing deep onto the site.
It's Leaf's positioning, actually, that I'm paying attention to, because he's going to be able to backstab the Lev players when they go for the retake.
Here comes Lev. Nade flying forwards. Doesn't really set him up nicely for that fight here, but Azino is going to be rapid right through the approach there, but not expecting it. Jonah P. Touch corner. Right click's not doing it, but just down to King. Only 48 health. He's got to spot out multiple players. Finds the kill, but already the time's ticking. Already drifting away from him. Pistol round for G2.
And locked up by Trent. A great opener for G2 there. We talked about the fact that 5 rounds on defense of Lotus. Already in the current meta, that's looking great. But to add a pistol round on top, G2, they might be behind technically, but they're in control of this game right now. Icy's getting great value. I think a lot of people would be anticipating him getting gapped in this by Aspas.
Yeah.
And that just hasn't happened. Yeah, Aspas played phenomenally on Breeze, but map 2 and map 3, Icy's been right there. Blow for blow.
Putting up the numbers.
So this is a little different. Jonah using his Viper Orb to create that pressure over towards Mound. Swapping around the Omen and the Viper's responsibilities, Valen and Jonah.
Interesting way to take it as well.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool for your Seaside default, actually, because you can drop the orb whenever you like. I like that element to their game.
So push back that space. Start making moves over to a different direction. Leaf's also going to be seeing if he can probably get too much space done or work done over towards B on that side. Now, Lev have called a stack. It's a gamble from them, but might come up correct. Just depends on how much poking and prodding I think the rest of G2 do. They don't want anything to do with A.
It's a little unusual to end B against weaker weaponry, but I think Lev's buy is so weak here that you're not really worried.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, so due diligence shown, at least with the util. Clears the path. Taking baby door.
And this is another situation where
Placing sentry.
I think Lev just want to throw themselves into the spike. I don't think you want to allow those ult orbs to get harvested for the attackers.
Because then you go into the flow chart, and then it's a bonus round. They might have some ults to work with.
Yeah, and even though G2 did take the fight on the second round, I think they kind of made it more difficult for themselves, even though they did win out in those later situations where they stopped the avalanche. It required a bit of magic.
Yeah, Trent's going to go hunting. He's 3 away. The big one. He will go down, but it's still 2 away now from that one. And G2 will seem to get a bit of a move on. Losing a few players.
Yeah, this isn't going to do terrible damage to the economy, but I think it is good that Lev have just thrown themselves into the maw there.
Yeah.
Poison's off.
Who's the closest to an ult? I think it's Trent with his Nightfall.
It is Trent, yeah, he's 2 away.
Yeah, and 2 away. Probably, like most of the time, I don't think you're going to have that available this round. Now, we did see G2's defense be really, really passive in round 3. So I want to see a change from that from Lev, but you can definitely feel that they're thinking about that, right? Just the way that they've even played round 14 here. They're conscious of the fact that they don't want to be feeding G2.
Yeah.
So a force buy from Leaf.
Knocking down the money. He's going to be holding.
Aspas denying that C orb, or at least making an attempt to.
In fact, Lev doing it on both sides of the map. I mean, look at this deep position of Mazino.
Yeah, I've missed whether or not they've already taken the A orb, actually. They may have done that. And of course, if you've taken it, then you can give up that space in the mid round and you're not so bothered.
G2 going for that A orb will retake, though. They've got a cross map molly.
It is still there, the ult orb.
Snake bites. Out wide.
And Aspas has drifted, was defending C, now
Mazino.
over to B.
Mazino, I mean, they just cleared us with a snake bite. They might not even expect him to already be up there. Oh, he's in the animation! Spotted him, backs away, TP. Might be necessary here, at least to disengage in a way. Yep, it's an evacuation.
He was literally in another world. I mean, Omen players getting jump scared as they come out of their smoke animation.
You can probably relate to that.
Look at the positioning here of Com.
Door opens. About 40 seconds to the mark now for G2 to start to make some movement around the map. Nade forwards here, but they haven't cleared out. Come! This guy is tearing them apart across 5 set up Valin. There's that response, but he's been softened up down to 7 HP.
30 seconds left.
Does have the spike, but just yet not anticipating that position. So Lev winning the round. That gun advantage.
Yeah, and I did misspeak actually at the start of the round. I thought it was only Leaf that had forced, but Leaf and Valin both forced in that, what should have been, I think, a bonus. And now their economy's in a bit of an unusual spot again. Team's not playing these pure bonuses, and it's hurting them. Nice bait and switch setup, though, for Lev on defense.
Yeah.
Com only had 1 kill, I think, in the first half. Playing very supportively. And now he's starting to find more opportunities to have impact.
Grouped up from G2, but Aspas taking punch shots, and heads will roll. It's answered, but honestly, the damage has been done here by Aspas already. Might be able to receive a rifle.
If Tex goes down...
Upgrade. Tex, though, it's the off-angle play in the movement, just ajar with it. Not making himself that easy sitting duck.
And a pointless hypothetical there. If Tex goes down, he's good for it.
Yeah.
He's been excellent in this series. The third map, you know, it's slow to heat up, I think, hasn't really had that same level of impact that we've seen from some of the other players on his squad, Mazino in particular. But Lev's win in round 15 has really changed the tide of this game. Rifles finally back for G2. Valin actually ended up buying down again in this round, so he's coming in with a Bulldog again. Mismanaging the economy a bit here for G2.
Yeah. Just prioritizing the full armor, I think, as well, just in case Aspas is going for an outlaw purchase, which he's known to do. Aspas on the other side of the map has already got his ult on through the A side, so that should trigger some response, at least from G2. Valin commits it with the ult as well. He knows he's got that space there to get the kill. And the Prowler was just chasing. Biting away at the heels.
He knows that both of these players anchoring on C have no audio because of the Nightfall.
This retake from Lev now does have some potency behind it, like I said. Well, that A pressure, Valin. He's dropped nice and early into this one. Nade rebounding forwards, but some kills need to be found here on the G2 side. They can't just give all this ground freely gained. Aspas, now is the time to let loose with it. And the rocket makes a racket, not too much more past that. The rifles really seem to be doing most of the work. Torpedo, plan for Mound, they're still having to clear out these players, and they are doubled up onto it. Really miscommunication, but eventually getting onto it with the defuse. making sure that they can shut down that G2 approach.
It's a nice idea for G2. Nightfall, Omen ult. See if we can set up a play where Valen wins the round because the headphones have been disabled for the defenders. But he couldn't find his opportunity. Almost got the punish. And instead it was Tex who turned around and dropped his former IGL. A change of fates. Yeah. Some bitter irony. At G2, they were in the driver's seat. In round 13, 14, it felt like we could have seen some momentum gained. And that defense side for Lev, they're finding those openings. A reminder that Leviatan's defense on Lotus, when we saw Aspas dropping crazy kills, 47 kills, their defense wasn't that great.
No, it wasn't. Losing a lot, but honestly, those losses you can learn quite a bit from. G2 take this opportunity to go for a fast B-pop here. Sticking onto the plan, you've got to be joking me, man. And it's so rapid in terms of the flirt. Just trying to push them back and away. Spike. No man's land for G2.
Very similar to what G2 went for themselves.
Yeah, they did.
The Nightfall insta-flood into B. Great
Puts away the sound cues. I mean, it's G2. They don't know when to actually take those timings to try and fight them and push them back. They don't know what's occurring.
And you're there so quickly, before the plant can even hit the ground. A great way of keeping G2 reeling.
Love staying more than competitive here. 50 seconds into this round. It'll take a miracle. Noise made. Reclear's caught by Lev. But even though the Valen's got this rifle here, forwards. The paranoia. It's a good connection. Tripled up as well. They're really leaving no gaps at all. Not even a single crumb. So, Lev here up to 11. This is the 7 rounds that G2 have got, and you know, for as much as we were talking about how good that half was for G2, time has to be taken. I completely agree with, because they're really running out of chances.
4 rounds in a row now for Leviatán. And I agree. G2 were in the ascendancy. It was looking like they had an opportunity to get a massive scalp here. And instead, this chance at an upset against Lev is slipping further away from them. Sen fans rejoicing.
Apparently so, just at least to give them any chance to get themselves into playoffs.
And a reminder that these kind of games are actually pivotal. Leviatán essentially lock themselves up in the playoffs with this win, and G2, they're in a battle in such a competitive group.
It's the most competitive group that we've got. I mean, almost everybody up there. When Sen's at the bottom of the group, you know you're in a competitive group.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And G2, they're 2-1 right now. If they lost this game, they would have the same record as Sentinels at the bottom. And no guarantee that there would be more than the average amount sent from the Alpha group.
Yeah.
And the desk were talking about how the rules
There's all
work.
sorts of possibilities.
Yeah, there's still a lot of different ways that these groups can shake out.
Right now the focus is all on this map. All on this match, this series. A turning point's got to start here for G2. Lev in control 4 rounds in a row now.
Time to work.
Tools are available here for G2.
Mixing things up. King was defending over towards C. Now he's moved A to give Tex the backup. So rotating that defensive setup. Lev play for mount control, open the door. Now they have front B control. Happy to drive the whole of G2 into A.
Oh, they want to fight this. Leaf. Oh, he's just found him. The one lurking player. He's playing in that position and angle, and the entirety of A now opens up for him on top of it. I see. He's going to have that ult to showstopper. Does he choose to use it here? Yes. Maybe to offset it at least. Make it a nice and even. Flying forwards. Maybe not the intended target, but I think he was just hoping it would catch onto someone. And now, shoes on the other foot. G2 find themselves advantaged here into the post, still holding those close positions. It's up to Lev really to use that Utah to try and clear it. It's paranoia and peak, and that is beautiful. Zeno, good timing and discipline taken with it. Satchel forward from Aspas. Smoke up, horn broken. Close corner by Valen, not anticipated. And this guy, a thorn in their side here. Leave it to Aspas once more, but it is an unwinnable situation. It should be, in all likelihood, and he recognizes it. Up and away, satcheling. Needs to keep this gun. Not entirely the end of the world if he does lose it. 5.8k to his name, but still, G2 hunting down the kills.
Lev's game plan on defense worked. They cleared out the lurker and drove the hit into A. But what they weren't anticipating was that Icy would be able to find a pick with the Showstopper and then cement himself nicely onto Heaven. They found 2 kills here. You know, one onto King, and then immediately afterwards, the Showstopper came through. And then didn't clear the site thoroughly. Mazzino still had Paranoia to work with and was just, you know, running forwards to tap the spike, expecting that G2 had fallen all the way back. Big rubble fight now.
Massive one. This one could just turn the tide and fighting all the way through. I mean, listen, lit up like beacons here, but no kills really to be collected. Running through them with all that util. I mean, they're just choked entirely. Can't get past the snake pipes. And Leaf, almost the entire chamber expended there.
Yo, that is a nasty anti-strat from Leviatán. They're throwing down Mazzino's smoke so that Aspas can hide inside of it and dodge the Haunt. Look at the difference in value that the Haunt gets there in that rubble fight. The attacker's Haunt is designed to try to light up Aspas when he goes forwards. Look, Aspas is inside the smoke here.
Fully hidden.
Dodges the Haunt. Meanwhile, he's fighting somebody that's lit up, and then Mazzino teleports up on top.
1-2 punch.
Sick play that Lev have not brought out very much here, and using it at the final hour to get them up to match point.
And that has got to be a defining moment, hasn't it, surely? Like you said, match point. Map point. This is it. Mazzino breaking that Haunt again, disrespecting them. A pit drop down towards C. The avenues closing away here. Lev just seeking to ferry and push G2 right towards them. Got a stack of players over towards B. They haven't lost control of rubble at all. Nanoswarms making sure to clear that alarm bot that is commonly placed.
Leaf takes lockdown. How do you run it here? No matter where you put it, it's going to be right next to King's ultimate. You've got to try to push King back, lockdown, and then punish him if he goes for it.
Not going to go
No, they back away.
With a minute left here, again, you're taking your time with this one. The back of my mind, I'm worried for G2. Aspas of a showstopper.
Yeah, I think no matter where Leaf tries to get this ult off, Aspas is going to be kind of tracking them around the map.
He's going to have answers for it.
It's almost impossible for the lockdown to be used on C, and I think Aspas is going to realize this in a moment.
And here's the chokehold. Lockdown. Got to be respected here.
30 seconds left.
Not quite though, Aspas. Look at this guy. I mean, he just sends flying for the nade. Will get out, so he's not quite detained. Trent is beamed down in the approach. And yes, detained, but Icy needs to follow through with this one. He needs a few more kills right into the choke point. There goes the nade. It does prevent that one with the pit drop down. Not a showstopper. Aspas. He's finding that value, finding that work down. 3 left to stand for G2. And the hopes and dreams of this series. They stand, and they might just fall right here, right now. But G2, from the moor almost, pulling it back into their hands. And it turns just like that. Aspas again left in this spot in a 1v3. Has to give it up. So tenuous between these two teams. You just didn't know which direction it's going to go into here. But G2 looking to breathe another day.
I think that's another one of those situations, Brent, where running at Aspas with the showstopper and forcing it out early is the play that's won G2 the round. They can't afford for the showstopper to counter the pit. You know, if Aspas runs forward with the showstopper and everyone on G2 cowers and hides, he's going to get a ridiculous ult off. And instead, I'm not even sure who it is, but somebody jumps in front of that one and just takes it for the rest of the team. Here it is.
Yeah.
Leaf putting his body on the line, getting that ult out early, and it allows the rest of the team to dominate the pit. Great work from Leaf. Tack timeout for Leviatán, who are up on match point. They've had 4 opportunities, or rather, they have 4 opportunities. 1 of them now gone, 3 left.
Once you call this timeout as well, I mean, how many use ults to really even just fight back here? G2 barely squeaking through.
You can try to run trap plays off the ult orbs. I'm actually a little surprised that they haven't tried to do that at any point.
Yeah.
We have not seen... What were we talking about as Lev's biggest strength in the game against NRG? It was the defense re-clears. We've actually not seen many of those. We haven't seen them lose mount control, take front B, and do a trap play into mount. You know, where they re-clear with a paranoia or that kind of thing. We haven't seen them put Mazzino into tree and do a Haunt paranoia re-clear of rubble. We've not seen any of those kind of strategies come out from Lev. And I think identifying this round as one where Trent is 1 away from Nightfall, pick an ult orb, do a kind of trap play off the back of it where you re-clear that space. I think that'd be a really nice idea to go for.
You might have read your minds here. Side by side, Mazzino and Aspas over towards C, looking to contest this one. It's a one-way. Pre-placed, looking like Aspas as well. A high-low setup.
Mazzino's positioning here is really nice to see over the top of any kind of orb, any kind of smoke that G2 used to take Mound. Having said that, actually, it doesn't really work as well with the Viper smoke, does it?
Doubled up, though. Off angles from Lev. Guns, barrels might be spotted. This game of timing is just brutal. G2 picked to pieces here as they look to just re-aggress over towards A, and they just don't expect King. The bait and switch play. Straight from the playbook of Lev. I mean, they pulled this one out earlier.
It's great. They dominate both ult-ops in the fight. C fought 4, A fought 4, and Tex, he gets that opportunity to drive the dagger into the back of G2. It's left down to Trent and Jonah P. In a 2v5, it's not possible. Lev have navigated these difficulties.
Where are you?
And it's all but wrapped up.
35 seconds left in the round. Contact plays in order here just to try and find any sort of advantage in the round, but it is wrapped up.
30
Surely it
seconds
should be. It's a mountain to overcome here, but Lev tested, pushed. Trent finds it. At least one kill to stay alive. A bit of breathing room into the round, but not surely the series. Tapping, not even sticking here into it. Paranoia in his face. Wide face, Mazzino. He finds that finishing blow. And Leviatán, they were pushed. They were tested in this series, but they come out on top. And with that, I believe, locking up their playoff spot.
Great work here for Leviatán. Showing that different people can take over the game as well. It's Mazzino that gets the final kill, and he had so many huge moments.
Yeah.
A player that was heavily criticized.
That map too.
Yeah. The ult into C, hiding inside the smoke.
Yeah.
Couple of big rounds. He's tracking on IC to deny the showstopper as the retake was happening in a different round on C. Major moments. This team continues to impress. Yes, it was a 2-1 victory. Yes, they couldn't really convert on their icebox defense, but there are still really nice positives to take away from this game.
I've got confirmation yet. Lev have locked up their playoff spot with this win here today. It's a hard fight for them. I mean, G2 really did put up a fantastic fight, pushing them all the way to that map 3. But today, it's Lev again, larger in charge. They made such a turning point from the middle section of Split.
And they're just dominating the Omega group.
Yeah.
The Omega group has the 3 Brazilian teams who are all struggling, and the only other team that's doing fairly well is 100 Thieves in there. But Lev looking clearly the top team of that group. And maybe making a case for the top team in Americas. There's more to see in their map pool overall, and definitely some small points at which you could point to weaknesses here in the match. But overall, I'm impressed with how they were able to find the weaknesses in what G2 were doing.
This was such
I think G2 played a good game today.
They did. Yeah, this was such a stellar series, I think, from both of these teams. You see those heroic moments. It wasn't just, Aspas dominating. Individual step-ups across the board on both of these teams, I think, as well. And the calling of VALORANT, didn't quite bring them over the line for that final map there, but as well, to bring it back after getting absolutely trounced on Breeze.
Yeah.
You lose 13-6.
It looked like it wasn't going to be a series.
Exactly. It looked like it was just going to be over, but to bring it back there still, unable to get it over the line. Lev win the day today. But man, definitely deserved. They're looking like a team that are making a claim for that top spot in NA right now as one of those world beaters.
The LATAM teams are both at the top of their respective groups. I think Crew is still at the top of the Alpha group as well. They're going to be playing against Loud. I'm telling you, man, it's the day of LATAM. If you're putting a pred on the next game for me, I'm going Crew. They're on a run. I think that's a great one that we've got coming up next.
On the day of LATAM as well. Just getting started. Let's send it down to Liz, who's down on the stage for the Verizon post-match interview.
And I'm here with the man of the hour. It is Aspas, literally, arguably one of the best players in the world. Aspas, do you think you are one of the best players in the world?
I don't think. No, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
That's fair. That's completely fair. Now, I have to ask you, King was talking about this game being for Tex, revenge for Tex. Was this revenge for Tex, this game?
For me, it was another game. Maybe for Tex was different, but it was a fun game and a tough game.
Yeah, how was it playing against G2 going to a map 3? Did you expect G2 to be that difficult?
Yeah, I always expect everything from the enemy team. You can never like go in a match thinking, wow, it's gonna be easy. You can like, you need to do the best that you can when you are preparing for a match, so you never like look down on your opponents.
So I learned, you just told me you got married 5 months ago, and I was talking to a lot of people. We didn't realize that you're a married man. So talk to me about having the support of that partner, your wife.
Oh, it's really important. She's always with me. Like every day that I have match, she cooks something for me because I eat at home with her. And she's always support me with everything. She's always with me. In every decision that I make, she's giving me the support. So even if I make something wrong, she's there with me.
Oh, I love that. And very last question. Brendan Sideshow said that Leviatán are making a case for being one of, if not the best team in the Americas. Do you believe that? Do you believe you're one of the best teams in the Americas right now?
I don't know. I hope so. We are working really hard, and I hope we can like make the efforts work.
Well, from me to you, you are absolutely fantastic. Your team is absolutely fantastic, and the fans absolutely adore you. So thank you so much, Aspas. Literally the record holder. But we're gonna go to a break, but stay tuned because we have a heck of a match. It is Crew versus Loud.
Red Bull gives you wings.